Hey guys, this is Steve from the AdventureRx with the hair that's all messed up because I can't find any place to record inside, and everywhere outside the wind is blowing, and so that's my situation right now. Where the hell am I going with this? This is way off. This is my last video about the trailer. I want to wrap it all up by sharing some of the things that I learned and the value and the things that I got in terms of experiences from living on the road for the last year that have totally been worth it, that I wouldn't have had if we didn't take the risk to go out there, get the trailer, and just give it a shot. We spent a lot of time thinking about what we wanted to name our daughter. And we decided to name her Lilo after our friends in Canada. You might remember it was around episode 60, episode 59, somewhere in there, that we went into Canada, into British Columbia, and spent a couple weeks with our friend Martin and with his parents, Hans and Lilo. And Martin and his family have been hugely impactful on our lives, not just because they're great friends, and not just because Martin also has type 1 and is a climber and a photographer, and we share so much in common, but we named our daughter, literally named our daughter after his mom. And up till this point, I had been really worried that we just weren't going to make it back up to Canada in order for them to meet each other. And then when we were going up there, I was really worried, like, my daughter does react sometimes a little strange to people who she hasn't met before. What if she is rude or, unfriendly, or what if they don't hit it off? And being able to spend that time with them, to have a couple of weeks and be able to capture those images of Lilo and Lilo together, it made me so thankful and so proud to be able to have that and to know that we didn't miss that opportunity. This experience forced us into a position where those relationships got addressed and they got the time and the value that they needed, and that's something that I'm incredibly thankful for. Another story that I related briefly in an earlier vlog, one of my good friends, we wound up spending some time with him at a very difficult point in his life, and we weren't able to help him ultimately, and he wound up tragically taking his own life. But we got a chance to be with him for the last month or so before he completely cut himself off and did what he did. But there was that opportunity that we had to be with him, knowing that he wasn't doing well, and to at least give him all the help that we could and try to let him know how much we cared about him and how much we loved him, and just to reach out. And I got to have that time with him, and I got to say goodbye, and I got to tell him how much he meant to me, and I got to tell him that I loved him. And if I hadn't been in the right place at the right time, if I hadn't taken the risk, if I hadn't had the car wreck where I had to be laid up at his place for a while, then I wouldn't have had that opportunity. And I think it's really easy to second guess things the way they happen in our life, but we don't know what the final outcome is. And this is just a chapter in the story. This is part of a bigger adventure. The trailer is not the adventure. The trailer is a component. It's a piece, and that piece played its part, and now it's done. And now we get to look forward to what comes next, and I'm excited for that too. A year ago, when I left my job and I made the decision to get the trailer and kind of jumped off the deep end, one of the driving factors that pushed me to make this decision was the fact that I was spending 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day commuting. And I would go to work before my daughter was up. I would come back and she'd be like just finishing dinner and going to sleep. And I felt like I was missing her early years, her infancy basically. And it really, really bothered me. But on the other hand, I felt like, okay, this is what I have to do in order to make a living. So I'm kind of stuck with this. And leaving that job, putting myself in a situation where I had to find a different way to earn money and I had to think differently and really change my mindset, that bought me, literally, so much time with her, which, granted, in the moment, there are times when it is so infuriating and we're driving down the road and she's kicking the seat or she's screaming in her car seat because she doesn't want a fifth hour strapped in her car seat going down the road, or she wants to listen to John Prine and I want to listen to a podcast. These are things that are real scenarios that unfolded, and it's not easy, and there are so many times that I wanted to tear my hair out. But when I look back at them and I look back at the pictures, I got to spend amazing moments with my daughter at a time in her life when most dads don't get to have that. Even just to have that time to spend with their daughter, let alone spend with their daughter in places that are incredibly special to them. And I got to take her to City of Rocks. I got to take her up to Canada, and I got to spend time with her out in Utah in Zion National Park. And we got to go climbing together, and we got to do so much that in the moment it didn't work out. It wasn't a Swiss watch, but I got to have those experiences and I got to take those photographs. And in 20 years, I'm not going to give a rat's ass that I didn't get to, climb the route that I wanted to that day. I'm going to have that picture of her and I together, and I'm going to have that memory of knowing that we went out there and hated each other for a couple of hours in order to have a memory that we could build something beautiful and amazing on. So I guess what I'm trying to say with all of this is that nothing is cut and dried, nothing is simple, and nothing is what we see in this moment. There's always more to the situation. And that's part of the reason why adventure means so much to me, because it's something that you have to unpack. It's something that you're not going to just have fun when you're out there climbing, when you're carrying the portal edge, when you're hauling gear, when you're dehydrated, when you're tired, when your knuckles are all bloody, when your feet are sore, when your battery goes dead right before you're about to get that shot, or when it starts raining on you, or when the wind comes up right when you're cooking dinner and blows all your food over. This is all part of adventure that is not fun. It's not pretty, and it's hateful in the moment, nothing short of hateful. But when you go into it with a creative goal in mind, you're guaranteed to be able to bring something back that you can have for yourself and that you can give to other people. And that is the spirit of adventure. That is what I went out there looking for, and I got it. And what could be better than that?